Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. I wanted to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus, and what this could mean for Star Citizen's development. It is one of the most frequently asked questions I have in my comments at the moment. I am certainly not a medical expert, so please bear that in mind, but I do think it's an important topic to cover. CIG said on Monday, due to the situation surrounding COVID-19, we're taking extra precautions to ensure the safety of all our developers. We're still in the process of figuring out those precautions and how they will impact our regularly scheduled live shows. Keep an eye out for more information concerning this week's planned Star Citizen Live. So it's very possible that Star Citizen Live and other videos and other live things that CIG would have produced on their channels may be affected in the short to medium term because they're going to be protecting their staff as much as possible. There might not be the crew or people around in the offices to actually record a lot of this stuff with. However, expect other types of content to potentially replace it. They can still contact each other over Skype calls. There can still be written content. We can see stuff on Spectrum. But just expect that there might be some little changes in the next couple of months to sort of like accommodate for that. I've talked to a couple of CIG employees about what's happening in their offices with the virus and the advice they've given to employees and actually how the development is going there. So, is the current situation going to cause delays? Well, even if they are minimal, it's going to cause some tasks to be delayed or at least some disruption in normal operation of the studios. Some CIG employees are working from home, either in self-isolation or because it's sensible to do so. So if someone is ill in your household in the UK at the moment and you live with other people, you're supposed to all isolate for 14 days, for example. And I think a lot of people are taking that pretty seriously to curb the quick spread of the virus so that the hospitals and sort of healthcare systems aren't overburdened. And that's the idea there. With people being able to work from home and some people being advised to do so, CIG is actually quite lucky in this regard, as most of CIG's employees can work from home without it drastically affecting their work. If they're working on art or code or whatever, they have all of this infrastructure and their cloud already set up. That's how they were sharing data anyway. They are a multinational studio with studios all across the world, and because of that infrastructure, they are able to access all of this work remotely and work on it still, even when in isolation, even potentially when ill. I doubt there is anything that is not accessible, sort of like offline, local only, data-wise, but if there is like some sort of like special build of Squadron, then I suspect that would be made accessible. However, I'm pretty sure that everything code-wise and for the builds for their game is all grabbed online anyway. It's all grabbed and accessible by all of their employees. They used to have loads of contractors working remotely as well, and so they are used to this sort of setup. The only real issue would come from certain employees not having the hardware they need at home, but then they could have their work rigs shipped to them if they needed to, or they could come into the office and pick them up. The offices aren't entirely ghost towned or anything like that in the UK. We're not being told to not go into work full stop or anything, so bear that in mind. Stuff is certainly not ground to a halt. CIG are pretty lucky in that regard. They're a set of global studios that are reasonably robust and set up for this sort of thing anyway. There's going to be some disruption from people being ill though. If you are ill and unable to work, then obviously you're not going to be contributing to your assigned task. And then there is an interesting discussion to be had, sort of, are people more or less efficient while working from home? I'm very much in favour, personally, of letting people work from home if they can prove to be effective, virus or no. I actually think working from home, for some people, makes them a lot more efficient in general. And I don't like the old school mindset of, you can't have people working from home because they're gonna, not be working. They're gonna be on YouTube all the time. I mean, I am. That's my job! Something that is an unknown, though, at the moment is things like events, like CitizenCon. There are a lot of events in lots of different countries that are being cancelled, and some countries are basically saying no meetings of over 100 people or 500 people or whatever. It's uncertain what the future will bring for the 10th of October when CitizenCon is planned to go ahead. So it's possible that there might still be restrictions on people gathering or events like this. So bear that in mind. Even if the worst of the virus has passed and life is pretty much back to normal, confidence might have taken a hit when it comes to travelling, and it might be in CIG's best interests to postpone, delay, or do something else other than a event where people travel to. If this is the case, then expect to see, instead of CitizenCon, a live stream or a video instead, because it just makes sense for CIG to do that, and they are set up to be able to do that. The other thing is that if CIG had any presence planned at other events or advertising planned at these events, like, you know, Squadron 42 announcements at events like E3 or something, just as a really rough example. Some of those events have also been cancelled already, and that could cause some changes in plans for releases and advertising, that sort of stuff. From what I can discern, CIG seems to be prioritising employee health and safety, and pretty relaxed with its employees if they want to work from home if they can. So they're watching the situation, waiting for it to unfold, and they will be updating us on anything that affects development or events in the future as and when they know for sure. So at the moment, they are having to watch and wait and work out what's going on. Their largest studio, the Winslow office, is in the UK, but there are also offices in LA, in America, in Austin, Texas, and in Frankfurt, and I think we've even got a little tiny one in Derby in the UK as well. So more generally, I'd like to say a few things. I am sure a lot of people are sick of hearing about the coronavirus, COVID-19, pardon the pun, but it is a global pandemic and it's affected the world, its people, and some economic stability. However, please don't panic, be sensible, wash your hands, avoid licking people. Social distancing seems to, in tests, be quite a sensible idea. So, you know, avoid unnecessary contact with people, but don't go mad. Giant gatherings of people probably should be avoided, in my opinion. In the UK, we are self-isolating if anyone in our household is sick with, you know, symptoms that are relevant to the coronavirus. So typically a high temperature and a dry cough. And then we isolate for 7 days if it's just you and your household. But if there's more than one of you, then 14 days, because you could obviously spread the disease and there's an incubation time and all that sort of jazz. But ordering groceries, but don't panic buy. Keep in contact with the world, but educate yourself and don't just worry about panic headlines. Human contact is the thing that I want to talk about the most. I don't want people to be lonely. I don't want people to be worried. I want people to talk to other people. Normalize your worry. Work is progressing on vaccines for the virus, but they take time to do safe testing, with experts suggesting up to 18 months away being a reasonable time frame for a vaccine to go to market. Every day we're getting better at understanding and treating it as well. So, I mean, the longer you can stay healthy, the better. It's especially obviously dangerous to people that are old or have underlying conditions. And for example, my dad, he is over 70, he's immunocompromised and has respiratory issues after recovering from cancer and having a lung operation. I don't want him to get it. I don't want to get it and then give it to him. So just be sort of like more sensible if there are people that you care for, or you go out. I'm talking about physically care for because they're injured, or because they have a disability, or because they're old, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, be sensible. More generally, I do think there is a worry that some businesses could go bankrupt, like takeaway, small businesses, travel companies, or airlines. Confidence in a lot of things like travel is really, really battered at the moment in a lot of countries. I travelled up to one of my best mates' hen parties on the weekend, and I went by plane there and back. There was like 3 people on my plane. The airport was entirely deserted. And when I say entirely, that is a massive exaggeration. There was like 5 or 6 people there total, which was so weird that I saw anyway. I'm sure there was people scurrying around in the back. And talking about my dad not getting it, if he does get it, I want to know as much about the disease as possible. I want it to be as late as possible in the sort of like the day, in the year, whatever, so we know as much about the disease as possible. And it's coming up to, you know, summer as well, so that's a good thing. Or at least getting into warmer climates. I know a few people online that are mostly recovered now as well, that have had the coronavirus, so that's a good thing that they're recovering relatively quickly. There is a bit of a break in supply chains in my area, like only a tiny minor one, and that's basically just people panic buying. People panic buying causes panic buying, and that's the only reason. We've got enough stuff. We've got enough groceries in the UK, at least in my area that I have seen, and from talking to other people, it's just people are overly aggressively buying a lot of stuff that they don't really need at the moment because they want to stock up. Now, just purchase sort of like groceries sensibly and fairly is my advice. A lot of grocery stores, supermarkets now, they are putting some measures in place so that elderly and vulnerable people are able to get the groceries they want, and they're sort of like adding maximum limits to the amount of food and groceries that you can buy in any one sort of like go. So I think that might be sensible. I don't want people buying all of the hand sanitizer in a store. That's just sort of like mean. But yeah, as I said, the cause of panic buying, in my opinion, is panic buying. The UK government have recommended not taking ibuprofen, but instead take paracetamol as a painkiller if you're trying to alleviate the symptoms at home. I'll link the UK medical advice down below so you can follow along at home if you're interested into what the studios are listening to in the UK, but also it's the advice that I'm listening to because it's most relevant to me. This is very much a time to help your fellow human as well, rather than to turn a profit. I'm one of the extremely sort of like lucky people, I suppose, that I'm not feeling the economic pinch of Corona, because it certainly damaged some various parts of the world's economy, some countries more than others, and moreover to me, there might even be more people at home at the moment to watch my videos during the days. I would much rather we be in a world where we can all go to work and everyone be happy, admittedly, so bear that in mind. Playing computer games and like on voice comms, using social media and chatting has helped keep me sane for the last 5 years or so. I'm not a massive fan of leaving the house as it is, so it's not going to affect me as much as it might other people. Make sure you reach out for some human conversation or help if you need to. Do not struggle on alone if you're self-isolated or you're worried. Talk to other people, get online on voice comms, join an organisation in Star Citizen, talk to some friends, organise some remote activities you can do together, play computer games. It's all really cool. I think that we live in an age where there's a lot of entertainment online, Netflix and chill, but you can only Netflix and chill for so long before you're like, I think I need to talk to a real human. Something you can get involved with as well, actually, is folding at home, which is basically like Bitcoin mining, a little program you download, and it uses your processing power of your CPU and GPU to help research viruses and diseases like the coronavirus, but also, even after all of this has passed, it can help with cancer and Alzheimer's research. I'll leave a link to that below. There is a BoredGamer team for that as well, but it's sort of irrelevant whether you join that. Just get involved with that if you want to. Don't be running that program, though, when you're playing computer games, because it's going to be pretty intensive on your CPU and GPU power as it is. I know a lot of people have been laid off work or are uncertain about the future or are on statutory sick pay and worried about paying the rent and stuff. Any form of uncertainty is hellish to me as I have anxiety, but if you plan well, just make some plans for what you're going to do in certain situations and circumstances. Be as sensible and organised as you can, and if you've got anything more left to give, try and help out your fellow man or woman or humankind as much as you can, even if that's just being there for a bit of a chat. Thanks for listening to me. I really do appreciate that. It was a little bit of a rant, but I wanted to sort of like address people and say, try not to worry, try not to panic, just be prepared, be organised, and try to be good to one another. I feel I'm very blessed to be able to do what I do for a living and to have such a supportive, amazing community. Thank you so much for your help and support. And if you want to jump into the Discord at any point, I'll try and be there during the days, having a bit of a chat. I'm very much looking forward to Star Citizen Alpha 3.9. I mean, it seems a much smaller thing now, but yeah, we're very much looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below if you've got anything that you'd like to ask questions on about Star Citizen, preferably. I'll try and answer them. Also, bam, I'll put any information I can about the virus and stuff in the description below as well. But it will be the UK sort of like guidelines and what the UK government are saying for the most part, because that is the information and advice I have been following. Thanks for watching, guys. You take care, and much love to you. Every month we have a ship giveaway for Star Citizen. This month we are giving away an Anvil Arrow Light Fighter and game package with that, so you can have access to Star Citizen if you don't already. All you got to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month of March. There are full details in the description below. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them or use the code BoredGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care and I'll see you in the verse.